Very good to have you with us once again. So we're starting to get some idea of the potential contours of what this deal might look like, some potential concessions on the Israeli side in terms of the number of hostages, then on the Hamas side in terms of the length of that ceasefire. It is potential at the moment, but what do you make of the shape of that deal?
Well, look, Secretary Blinken has his foot on diplomatic gas. The question is he in neutral or dry? We've been here before. I'm optimistic today for several reasons. First of all, as your reporter indicated, Hamas is being offered a better deal, an improved deal, and they acknowledge that. For the first time in 7 months, Israel is softening their position. I'd say the second reason is Hamas, by releasing those two hostage tapes last week of the American hostages that they're holding, they're clearly playing their big cards. That says to me that they're under increased pressure, whether from within or from without. They're ready to cut a deal. Also on the Israeli side, I think that there's been some horse trading with President Biden. You know, there was a nearly hour-long phone call yesterday between Netanyahu and Biden, and 75% of that time, I'm told, what took place was about the hostage deal. There's also the ICC, which is threatening to issue arrest warrants for Netanyahu and others. And so I have a feeling there's a little bit of trading there. You know, if you soften on the hostage deal, we'll protect you at the ICC. And finally, and very important, it can't be underestimated, the impact of the Israeli Jewish calendar. A week and coming up in the next week is Holocaust Memorial Day, which is very emotionally evocative for Israelis. And 2 weeks from now, we'll have Independence Day. I don't see how they're going to be able to celebrate without a deal.
Laura, you were mentioning there the softening stance when it comes to hostages, around 33 potentially being released, down from the 40. And of course, we know many other people are still being held. How do you think the Israeli public would react to that?
Well, I think it's sort of a sad reality, but they've been forced to put their arms around it, which is that they now understand that 40 may not be alive. They just, you know, the numbers keep reducing of how many people are alive. And I think their sense is quit while you're behind and let's bring home who we can.
You know, if Hamas does reject it, you know, exploring that possibility, what then in this war?
Well, I think the pressure is on Hamas. I mean, there's world pressure on there. Yes, Netanyahu is threatening to go into Rafah. I think that might be more of a kind of negotiating tactic. I don't think he'll go in, certainly not without the U.S. approval. And U.S. approval is conditions-based, not time-based. Conditions-based meaning you need to meet certain metrics. Most important of them is moving the civilian population, the Palestinians, to a safe place. That's nearly unachievable. So I think that's kind of a feint for now. I don't think it's a real option for the Israelis.
Laura, something you brought up was concerns from Israeli officials about the potential for high-ranking officials to be served with arrest warrants from the ICC. Were that to come to pass, what position do you think that might put Washington in?
Well, it's one more lever for the administration. They've always had the military lever where they could threaten to slow down weapons delivery to the Israelis as their leverage. The Americans have often been the only thing that stands between them and worldwide diplomatic or legal condemnation. Right now, the administration came up very clearly and they said, you know, that the ICC does not have jurisdiction in this case. And so they can use that to their benefit as they try to kind of, moderate Israel's positions and bring them closer to that prolonged ceasefire and hopefully a two-state solution, which is what our goal has been all along. I mean, before October 7th, we were talking about regional integration. We were almost there. And, you know, the Israelis in some ways are stuck on October 7th for them. For the Palestinians, it's October 8th, the aftermath and the destruction. The Americans are still talking about, in fact, Secretary Blinken said today, October 10th. October 10th was the date that he was supposed to come to the region to finalize that final deal, that mega deal between Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States for greater regional integration and a better day for all.
Laura Blumenfeld, a former senior advisor on the Middle East at the U.S. State Department, now a senior fellow at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. Always great to get your take. Thank you.
Thank you.